Hi, my name is Kimberly Bly, and I'm just going to show a faculty how to get some support in identifying some possible fraudulent students that you may find on your rolls. And this will be using MyBanweb. Some people have access to Starfish roles that you can do this as well as in Banner. But since most of us have just access to straight MyBanweb, I'm going to show you how to go through your rosters and take a look at them just using the MyBanweb feature. First thing you're going to do is, of course, log into Inside BC with your BC email and the password that you chose. You're going to go to MyBanweb and you're going to choose MyBanweb main menu. You can do a lot of things on MyBanweb. So this is just one small thing that you can do to take a look at your rosters. So you see we have lots of tabs across here. You may not have the advisor services depending on your role as faculty, but we're going to spend some time right here in faculty services. And so we're going to go to faculty and advisors. Under faculties and advisors, you have many options. What we're going to take a look at right now first is we're going to take a look at your class roster by CRN. So when you choose class roster, it'll give you a drop down and you can select one role at a time and take a look at that enrollment by CRN, but the drop down will give you everything for that semester that's currently active. So you'll do a couple of things on this page. One, you're going to download the class list to an Excel worksheet, which we'll come back to, but we're going to need to use that when we submit our list to financial aid link to do the verification of whether or not these students are fraudulent. We also are going to take a look at what's below this screen right here that says enrollment counts. We'll take a look at that because you're going to need both to work on this. This is the detailed class list that you'll find on that same sheet without downloading. I've changed a few of the names here, but actually all three of these have some information that were fraudulent students. What I want to point out is if you look at the ID number for the BC ID, what we call the @ number, you'll see that these are all 771, 773. They tend to be a little higher than the students that are not fraudulent, but you can't really go by the ID to identify because the ID does look like it matches the numbering for our system. You can also see that their emails look like actual BC emails or Saracosa or Porterville, so we can't really identify them usually just by their email. All the ones I've seen have had some sort of email that looked authentic. And then we also have phone numbers in here. Again, phone numbers alone are not enough information because we do have students outside of the 661 area code, but all of this combined along with the address on file will give you at least a list that you can send in to have it looked over, what we're calling rinsed by financial aid, to see if these are actual students or fraudulent. So here's an example of a downloaded Excel from that roll sheet from that screen. I've changed a few things just to make sure that no actual information is on here, but normally, of course, you would have their names on there and the CRN for the course you're looking at. Again, those emails do look authentic. You have program and ed goal, which we can talk about in a little bit, but for the purposes of this, we're going to take a look at those that have the area code that are not 661, and then we're going to use the other sheet that has their addresses on it, and using those two together we're going to transfer the information from the city of residence that they have on file to this, because this is the sheet that you can send forward for getting rents to see if there's any fraudulent students. So I just added the column for cities because that's not on the downloaded version. So another thing you could take a look at if you have access to it under faculty services is something called student information menu. On the student information menu, you have a few options in here. You can take a look at student schedule, things like that, but really you need to start with the ID selection. So one by one you can go through and pull up a little bit of information about each student. I'm just going to go ahead and show you the address for this particular student that happens to be a fraudulent example. And I go ahead and I type in the ID number for that student, submit that, and then I select the address choice. You can see this person here has no phone number listed, which they did when we were looking at them on the spreadsheet, but over here it shows no phone number listed. But more importantly, take a look at these addresses. We've got the mailing address in Manhattan Beach. We've got the current address in Arcadia, California. That combined with the high numbering system combined with the out of area phone number, those are ones that you're going to want to take a look at and send to be rinsed by financial aid. One more thing I want to show you, you may not have access to this, some faculty do because of their roles on campus, but this advisor service, we can take a look at a student's academic transcript. Again, just typing in that student's number, and then I'm going to pull up and display the whole transcript. The students that are fraudulent tend to have only courses for that semester. They tend to have up to 12 units, but I've noticed that they're starting to get cleaned out a little bit as people are doing a good job turning in their drops, taking care of those drops for the fraudulent students, but typically they'll have up to 12 units or an abundance of non-credit courses. And one thing to look at, if you have this opportunity to see this, this person is listed as a political science. Again, this is a confirmed fraudulent student. But when you look at the students' coursework, we see that they have enrolled in 3 criminology courses and an education course for a political science major. Again, that just kind of adds to the suspicion that this person is probably a fraudulent student. So you got an email from Jennifer Achen in collaboration with Michelle Pena from Admissions and Records. And this is part of the information that was in that email, but please go back, do a search, find that email. It has step-by-step what their request is. But just to let you know, there's 2 different ways that you're going to submit this. If you have 3 or fewer students, you're going to use Starfish. And if you have questions on Starfish to how to do the systems alerts, you can contact Grace Camiso. She is the guru of Starfish, and so she can explain to you if you need any help with that. The other way is that you can do a rinse list, which I'm going to show you a little closer. And this is the list if you have more than one roster with more than 3 students per roster. So when you go to that email and click on that link, this is what you'll pull up. And again, the link is up here if you need to spell it out. Here again is the 2 options. If you have less than 3 students or 3 or less students, you're going to go to Starfish instead, or you're going to submit here, and that's it. This is the form. It's quite short, sweet, gets right to it. You're going to put in your first name, your last name, your BC email, and then choose that downloaded and saved Excel file that you have for each of your rosters that you want reviewed, and you simply submit the form, and then they'll email you back with the information. Here is what you'll submit, although all they really need from each of this is the BC ID, their last name and first name. This is my worksheet that I downloaded from the CRN, and I added the cities. So this is for my records. You can send this whole piece forward just so you can go back and maybe add another column that it signifies the date that you dropped the student for your records. But this is basically going to be the list of students that I want rinsed or reviewed. If you need any help on how to drop students, there is a video that has been shared by admission staff. Please do not email admission staff directly to their individuals. Please use the bcadmission@kccd.edu if you have questions on anything to do with dropping students. I can tell you that the sooner you drop them, the more likely you'll have an opportunity to get actual students in the class once you remove the fraudulent students. I've had a couple of my EDUC faculty who had dropped the students after the first day, and they were able to get numerous students back on their rosters, either from waitlist or new ads that were not fraudulent students. And it's very important that you do drop non-participating students, because we are not allowed to have students on our roster after the census date if they have been not participating in your course. Mind you, there is a difference between participating and attending, and if you have questions on that, you can contact your dean, and they can clarify for you what are those rules and regulations in terms of a student actually participating versus attending a course, especially when you're referring to online courses. So If you need any help on this, again, reach out to the BC Admission or to the Financial Aid Office, and they will be able to assist you further. I hope this was helpful. I know there are other ways to review the roster, but we really do need to get these cleaned up as soon as possible for the 16-week courses. That census date is approaching on Monday. The drop date for students for refund is Friday. And so, again, the sooner you clean up that list, the sooner you're going to be in compliance with the census date enrollment, and the sooner you have the possibility of getting some students in that are actually going to be in your course and participating for the remainder of the spring semester. Have a great day, and I hope this has been helpful for you.